Alright guys, welcome back to another video. I've had to restart this one because I was having trouble launching Cursor from my WSL. Basically, in this vid I'm going to run you through A to Z how to get an ELIZA style agent up and running on your X, on your Twitter account, so we can start posting for you. I'm going to treat the viewer as an absolute beginner, so if you're advanced in this stuff, this is probably not the video for you. This is for someone like me who's new to this, who just needs like A to Z steps on how to get started, sort of bit by bit, and I'm going to run you through each step on how to do that. So I'll be using Windows for this, Linux system. If you're on a Mac, I would suggest, in fact, under the video I'm going to put a great resource on how to get started on Mac, but this is going to be for a Linux system, so keep that in mind. So let's get started. A to Z. The first thing we need to do is install a bunch of prereqs, so WSL, Python, Node.JS, and Pnpm, and we're going to start by pulling up our command prompt. Now I obviously already have WSL installed, so it's just going to say already installed, but if you don't have it, it's a WSL -- install function in your command prompt. And as you can see, Ubuntu is already installed, and you can tell that it's switched to WSL when it goes from sort of that white C drive file location to the green Linux file location, so that's good. Now you can either do it in this terminal or you can close it down. I'm going to close it down and pull up a fresh WSL terminal, and I'm not going to run as administrator just yet, but that will be relevant in one of the upcoming steps. You are going to install these prereqs for Python now. So sudo apt update, and it's going to ask you for your password, and you just plug it in. And again, I've already got all these installed, so hopefully it's quite quick and you're not sitting through sort of long download processes. Sudo apt upgrade. And then sudo apt install Python 3 pip. Brilliant. So I got an error because I've already got all this stuff downloaded. The next thing we're going to install is Node.js. So when we run a curl command, as you can see, this prompt is a curl. It's basically asking the system to download whatever information is in that URL. So in this case, it is Node.js. Awesome. And so if we want to check which node version we're on, 23.7. Great. So the next thing we're going to do is install Pnpm, so Performance Node Package Manager. The best way I can describe this is like, it's an app store. Like you would download an app onto your phone to give your phone more functionality. When we download libraries and dependencies off the Node Package Manager, we're giving us the ability to do more things in our code base. We're leveraging other people's code. We're giving our code more functionality. So you do that with that command, sudo npm install g pnpm. And if you want to check, you need at least 9.15.2. So I think this latest version is 9.15.4. So that's all good. Awesome. And so those are the three subsections of prerequisites you need to get one of these agents going. Cool. So I'm going to close that down, and I'm going to pull up a WSL terminal in administrator mode this time. So that was just a standard WSL terminal. Now we want to run as administrator. Now, if you're like me, you need some sort of filing system, some sort of folder system to keep track of all the stuff that's on your computer. I have called my ELIZA agents folder EA. So if I go make new directory with mkdir, make directory, EA, you can see it cannot create because it already exists. So however your brain works, you want to create a directory that is easy for you to understand, easy for you to locate. So EA stands for ELIZA Agents in my case, so it's very easy for me to find. So you're going to have to figure that out for yourself. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change into that directory. So change directory to my ELIZA Agents folder. It's going to pull up my ELIZA Agents folder. Now we're going to clone the repo into this folder. And I'm hoping it doesn't. In fact, I'm going to type it out just to be sure, because sometimes when I paste it, it just goes ahead and downloads it anyway, but I want to rename it to something. So https github.com ELIZA OS ELIZA.git, and I'm going to rename this to E6 because I have a bunch of ELIZA repos on my computer already. This is my 6th version, so E6 stands for 6, ELIZA 6. So it's going to clone into E6. Hopefully this doesn't take too long. If it does, I can just chop it in the editing process. I'm just going to add something real quick while that downloads. We need that, very important. Alright, brilliant. So that's downloaded into E6. If I change directory to E6, you can see if I go ls, that's going to pull up all the files and folders within our ELIZA 6 or ELIZA v6 repo. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to change the default character, which is in the packages section. If you have cursor installed, you can just pull up cursor with code space dot. If you have VS Code installed, that's going to pull up VS Code if you do code dot or code space dot. You need one of these coding assistants, so whether it's VS Code, I think if you have a Windows laptop or a Windows computer, you have VS Code automatically. I might be wrong on that, so you might want to double check. Download VS Code if you don't have it, or even if you're new, I would suggest downloading Cursor. I use the free version, so you don't have to pay for it. It just makes it so much easier because it has the AI integration. You can ask it questions, you can get it to explain why something's not right, etc. So do a code space dot command to pull up your cursor window. Alright, that took a little while. I am using hotspot, so it's probably why it's taking a minute. If I go back again, run code space dot, that should pull up my cursor window. Awesome. So as you can see, E6, ELIZA v6, it's just loading now in administrator mode. That is very important. You will not be able to launch one of these from a standard WSL terminal. You need to run as administrator. I was banging my head up against the window on this for weeks and it wasn't working, wasn't able to get one launched, and I changed into administrator mode for my WSL terminal and it started working. It's a very simple fix, but very important to run from administrator. Now, if you're fairly new to this like I am, this was another realization I had. So this cursor window can look a bit daunting, but all it is, if I pull up my file explorer next to it, and I go to my Linux, Ubuntu, and I search for my ELIZA Agents folder. And I search for my E6, the one I just downloaded. This is this on the left. All Cursor is File Explorer with the ability to modify the content within the folders, right? So as you can see, dev container, git, GitHub, agent characters, dev container, GitHub, agent characters. It's the exact same. Again, that was a realization for me when a couple weeks ago when I first got started with this stuff. Yeah, so that's important to know. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to edit our default character. So you can find your default character under packages, core, source, src, default character, TypeScript. And this is the default ELIZA character. So name, pretty self-explanatory, the character name, the username, plugins, which gives it sort of the ability to do more things. It's like a plugin on WordPress, right? You download it so you can achieve a certain outcome that you don't get without the plugin. It's the exact same with an ELIZA agent. Clients, these are our platforms that our agent can interact with: Twitter, Telegram, Discord, Slack, etc. Model provider, that's the LLM that you're going to use with your agent. The secret is the API key. So if you're using OpenAI, I'll be using OpenAI in this demo, you would use the OpenAI API key. Model, that's just sort of the vibe or the voice that's used. System, that's kind of the general function of the agent. Bio, they're kind of concrete facts about the agent. Law is sort of the narrative behind those concrete facts. So a concrete fact might be you run a headphone company, and the law might be like your old man was owned a business in the headphone space and you inherited it. So it's like the narrative around the concrete fact. Message examples, so it gives the agent sort of context about what it can expect from a user and how we want it to respond to the user. Post examples, they're for social media, so like short, punchy 1 to 2 sentences that we can post to X, etc. Topics are the fields of expertise our agent has. Style is the way it interacts with people. Adjectives, just describing words that describe our agent. Cool. So in order to change this to the character we want, we copy and paste the whole thing. Control C. Go to an LLM of your choice. So I have a paid Claude account, so I'm going to use Claude. If you don't have any paid accounts, Google Gemini is fantastic. DeepSeek obviously just arrived on the scene, fantastic, outperforming OpenAI and a bunch of metrics. But what you would do, you can see I've already done it here, but you would paste it, Control V, and you would describe exactly what you want the agent to do, its personality, etc. And you tell it to keep the exact same file structure. So you can see in the one I've done, I'm creating a character using the exact file structure in the uploaded example. I need to have all the attributes, and then you describe the character. So one of the things I do here in Australia is I help my nan with her marketing. She runs like a beautiful sort of handmade cheese business, but being a grandma, she doesn't understand the power of social media, online business, e-commerce, etc. So I'm helping her bring her brand online, basically. And so I'm wondering, can I use one of these agents to generate interest, to generate leads for her business, etc. And sort of on the right here, a lot of this will be under my head. I think the camera's blocking it, but you can see it's got the exact same format. Post examples, topics, style, adjectives, etc. And you would simply just copy that and bring it into your default character file. So I'll go back to the top, Control V from the LLM, and we have sort of a functioning default character here because we haven't got any error messages. So we know that that's configured correctly. But there are a few more things we have to do. the first thing, we go to the top line, the import line. We're going to add clients to it. And then we're going to go to the clients tab, a few rows under. We're going to do clients.twitter. Because again, we want our agent to be able to interact with the platform. It's pretty useless if it can't do anything on Twitter, or if it can't do anything on Telegram, if it can't do anything on Discord. So we've got to configure it to be able to interact with our Twitter account. And I'm going to use OpenAI for this example, so I'm going to put OpenAI there. Should I do that now? And I'm going to do the env file first. I'll come back to this and update the secrets, because that's where our API key for our OpenAI account goes. You're not going to be able to make API requests if you don't have the API key configured within the character file. Awesome. So you're going to save that. Save. Now, if I scroll down, sorry guys, the sun is glaring my screen, I can hardly see it. If we scroll all the way down, we can see our .env.example file. This is kind of the skeleton for where we configure our sensitive information, like our Twitter password, our username, the LLM API keys that we're going to leverage. But we need to create a copy of it. Because if we don't create a copy of it, our sensitive information might end up back on a public repo, or it could be at risk of getting breached. So we create a separate env file where we can actually configure our sensitive data. And to do that, I'm going to go back to my WSL terminal, and I'm going to run this command: cp.env.example.env. And again, I'm doing this in my ELIZA Agent folder, which contains my ELIZA v6 folder, which contains my environment example that I just showed you. So we're going to run this copy env.example into an env file. And if I go back to my cursor, you can see now I have a fresh env file, which was not there before. Cool. Now obviously this will contain various bits of sensitive data that I can't share, so I'll blur bits out here. But the things you're going to change, you're going to go down to your Twitter username, so whatever your username is, my example, Cheese Queen. It's not actually the username, it's similar, but you go Twitter password, blah 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 blah, Twitter email, blah 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 blah. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to add in your cookies. So this doesn't come with the env file, you're going to have to add it yourself. But again, all this stuff will be tagged in the video description below, so you can just copy and paste it all in. Twitter cookies, bang. The thing you're going to change is this part, your auth code, your CT0 value, and your guest ID. And to get this stuff, you're going to have to go to your Twitter. Now again, this is sensitive info, so I won't show you exactly, but I'll show you where to find it. So you go FN F12, that's going to pull up this application. If you're opening this up for the first time, application won't automatically come up. It's only elements, console and sources. So what you do to get applications, you click this double arrow button, scroll down, there'll be application somewhere here, and you pull it up. You will need to get your auth code, your auth token, your CT0, and your guest ID. Again, you would just click on it, it's going to pop up down here somewhere, copy and paste into this section here, your auth token. Same thing for your CT value, same thing for your guest ID. So I'm going to go do that now, and I'm going to chop the video here so that I can go back and show you how it works. Alright, great. So I've added my Twitter cookies. Now I'm going to show a few of the Twitter settings. So for the target users, that's simply, do you want your agent commenting on particular accounts? You might have a particular niche, For my example, I'm using a cheese example to see if I can integrate it into my grandma's business. So maybe famous chefs or famous food pages or big food pages with big followings. That might be useful for me to target to get my agent to interact on. Whatever niche you're in, go find some big accounts and chuck their usernames in here. The retry limit, I would set that to 2, because that's going to stop our agent from trying to continuously log in if it's getting kicked back. You want to set that to 2 because that can flag sort of suspicious activity. Actually, I'll keep that at 2. Post interval min, I set it to 10. I set max to 30. That's very quick. The default is 90 and 180, but I'm just trying to quickly iterate, quickly test this stuff to see if it is useful at all. Post immediately, I set to true. Action interval, default 5 minutes is fine. That's every 5 minutes it's going to check if there's been a new interaction. Enable action processing, I set to true, which can cause the agent to go a little bit rogue, but again, I'm just trying to quickly test, quickly iterate, see if this stuff's useful at all. So I'm going to set this to true. Max action processing 1 is fine. Action timeline type, you can either set it to your For You page or your following. I'm just going to set it to For You. And those are the Twitter settings that I would run. Next thing is, like I said, I'm going to use an OpenAI account. So I'm going to configure an OpenAI API key, and I'm going to use OpenAI embeddings. I'm going to also show you how to set up an Open Router account, because a lot of you won't have sort of paid LLM subscriptions. So I'm going to get my OpenAI API key. I'm going to chop the video here, and I'm going to show you how to get an Open Router API key. Alrighty guys, now I've plugged in my OpenAI API key. You can see here, I'm going to keep it hidden, but it goes in secrets, and it's OpenAI _API key, which goes there. So now I'm going to show you how to set up an Open Router account, because a lot of you won't have just showed you my guest ID. I'm gonna have to blur that. A lot of you won't have paid LLM accounts, so you go to openrouter.ai, and this website just allows you to leverage sort of these LLMs without actually having an account. So you create an account, it's free, and it's going to pull you up to this interface. You basically have to load up your account with some credits. You would go credits. As you can see, I've loaded up $10. Then you would go to keys, and you would create a key. So in this case it would be E6 for me, but whatever you've named sort of your folder that you're tweaking, you would name it that, and then you click create, and it's going to generate you a key, which you would then go into the env file, and you'd find the Open Router API key just here, and you'll plug it in, and that's going to allow you to leverage Open Router's services. So now that we've installed all the prereqs, we've configured our environment file with our Twitter sensitive info, our cookies, our API key. We've created our default character that we want to run. Now we actually have to install the dependencies. So the first thing we're going to do is we have to switch over to the latest tag release to ensure that we're not using buggy code. And you run this command here, git checkout. In fact, before I even do that, I'm going to switch to the latest Node version manager. Cool. So now we run that. It's going to tell us that we're now switching to v0.1.9. Now we can run our pnpm install. So pnpm I no-frozen-lockfile. Now this is going to take a while, so I'm going to have to chop this part. But you can find all these prompts in the quick start guide. So if I pull up the quick start guide, I'm going to have to charge my computer. You can find all this stuff here. So as you can see, pnpm install no-frozen-lockfile, pnpm I no-frozen-lockfile also works, and then you run a pnpm build. I'm just going to get my computer charger. Alright, sweet. So pnpm install no-frozen-lockfiles worked. That took a long time. That might be an issue that some of you run into. It might just take ages. So leave it setting up overnight if it's taking a long time, or just go away from your computer for an hour or two, do something else, make sure it's still running when you leave, but just let it download all those dependencies. The next command you're going to run is pnpm build, and again this is going to take a while, so I'm going to stop the vid and speed this up for you guys. Alright, that took a long time, but that's the pnpm build done. As you can see, 147 successful, 147 total. It's prompting us to take the next step. So because we have configured our default character, the only command you need to run is pnpm start. If you were to have created a character within the character files, JSON character files, I'm just going to scroll up to show you where that is. Characters, these are various characters you can tweak, but for the purposes of this video, we're just using a default character. So if you wanted to configure one of those character files, you would do the exact same thing as the default character. You'd copy and paste the whole template into an LLM. Say keep the file structure, I want XYZ for my agent, copy and paste it back in, and then you would run pnpm start character dash whatever you name it. But for the purpose of this video, we're just doing a default character, so all you need to run is pnpm start. And again, this may require speeding up in the editing, so we'll see how we go. So I forgot to add my Twitter password, Twitter username and Twitter email, so I've added that in. I'm going to run it again. pnpm start. So if you see this blue text, you know it's trying to run. You can see it's loaded the env file. The error wallet address not provided isn't an issue. We're not connecting 20 blockchains. On-chain data not relevant. Now, let's have a look to see our agent's posting. Should be. Thank fuck that worked. 30 seconds ago, 34 seconds ago. In the shadows of my cheese sanctuary, I whisper secrets of dance that transcends the ordinary. A union so exquisite it transforms the mundane into the divine, awakening senses long forgotten. So it's doing exactly what I've asked it to. So be sort of alluring, be mysterious, be quite seductive with the language. This is just for testing purposes. Obviously this is not tied to my grandma's business in any way whatsoever, but you know, this is sort of the testing round. I think this year with ELIZA agents is sort of trying to figure out exactly how you can integrate them into your business. For now, they're great at creating personalities. I wouldn't say they're great at sort of autonomous learning yet. I know V2 is loading at the moment, so hopefully, you know, the updates can allow for more autonomous, more learning, that sort of functionality. For now, if you want a personality agent, they're fantastic. And let's see if our agent's replying to anyone yet. Not yet. You know, I was running this a few days ago. It was replying to people, as you can see. So that's it. That's how you launch an ELIZA style agent, A to Z. Hopefully you followed along and it's working on your end. If not, if there are issues, chuck them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them as well as I can. But for now, I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.